Hello, fifth grade. So today we are going to be having a lesson on how authors use illustrations and graphics to help you understand bigger ideas. In the past few weeks, we've been having lessons on how nonfiction authors use different features and writing styles to help you better understand the text. And today we are going to learn that when authors provide illustrations and graphics visually to you, they're usually trying to tell you a bigger idea about the topic they're teaching you about. So let's get started with our first example. Our first example is from the book Skateboards Made by Hand, which we all have read a few weeks ago. So take a look at this graphic. What do you notice about it? This graphic is called a diagram. And what a diagram does is a diagram shows parts of something or how something works. So in this case, we see the parts of a skateboard and also kind of how it works. Now we're going to think about it a little bit more. So type of graphic, we've already decided it was a diagram because it's showing parts of something. And what is this diagram showing? Well, this diagram is showing the parts of a skateboard, trucks, wheels, deck. Okay, and then we have to think to ourselves, what's the big idea about this graphic? Well, skateboards are designed for riding on the deck and rolling with the wheels. Skateboards are designed for riding and rolling. Okay? So we're going to go into our next example, which is from the book Titanic, Disaster at Sea. Do you know what kind of graphic this is? This is called a graph. So in this graph, let's look closely at it. We see a few different things here. It's called Survivors of the Titanic Disaster. We have a key down here, and the key is telling us that women and children are shown in pink and men are shown in blue. Up here, we have number of lives lost, number of lives saved, and it shows how many lost and saved in each class. Now, we know first class is the fanciest class. Second class is like middle fancy, and third class is like people, that don't have a lot of money and maybe sharing rooms with others and really just trying to catch a ride to America. So let's look a little bit closer here. Let's look at what it's showing, okay? So we've decided it's a type of graph. It's showing the number of people lost and saved in each class on the Titanic. If we look closely, we can see here that across classes, more and more people's lives are lost, no matter if they're a man or a woman. Third class lost the most lives out of both men and women. And first class saved more women than second class, and second class saved more women than third class. Although we have something here that shows that third class saved 75, there were 75 men saved and only 75 men saved in first class. But oops, let me go back. But overall, we can see that across the classes, more people's lives were lost. So what's the big idea about this when we think about people's lives being lost on the Titanic? Well, we can tell from this graph that passengers on the Titanic, they weren't all treated equally, okay? Depending on what class they were in. Okay, so let's do a quick review. When we see an illustration or a graphic, the author is really trying to help us understand a bigger idea, okay? Now, here's what you're going to do today. You are going to go back to Google Classroom or to Mrs. Campbell's slideshow. You are going to click on the Writing About Reading task, and in there, you are going to find two graphics. You're going to choose one graphic, and you're going to decide, what type of graphic is this? Is this a graph? Is this a diagram? Is this just an illustration? What is this? Okay. What does it show? What are we seeing? Okay. And then what's the big idea? What do you think the author wants you to gain from that? Okay, go give it a try, fifth graders. Bye.